I'm Dale Rodman Jr. III. This is Slow to Pro, where I go from slow to less slow, and you wonder why I'm not getting it. If that sounds like something you might like, subscribe. If you enjoy the video at any point, please click like to help new people find their way here. Today we're at Imola, which, man, that does not sound right to my American ears. The only people I've ever heard say this had the accent of our former captors. So I think as the first American ever, maybe, to say this track, I declared to be Imola. Not really, I'm just gonna call it Imola because that's easier on the tongue and lips than my ex-wife Sheila. So yeah, this is my first time, second time at Imola. I'm lying, it is my second time. I did like 4 laps a week ago or something, and then decided to start this YouTube channel and figured I'd learn the track on camera to show how addicting sim racing can be. As a new player to Assetto Corsa Competizione, you have to earn track medals at every track and any DLC tracks you purchase in order to be able to compete on certain multiplayer servers. You don't have to take Dear Imola out to dinner or anything like that. You just have to be able to do about 5 laps at a snail's pace and keep your laps valid by staying within track limits. So no crossing boundaries, Sheila. This is probably to help everybody have a better experience in turn 1 at all circuits. You'll know what I mean when you learn what I mean. It's a hard lesson. Hard lessons are the ones that nobody can teach you, but we all learn them the hard way. That's why they're called hard lessons. See, if you overthink everything, you can make sense out of anything, Sheila. This next chicane section that we're coming up to, the exit of it is probably lonely and has no friends. It is a wet blanket in terms of track metals. It's so sensitive that sometimes looking at it will invalidate your lap. It's those types of situations that confuse me with the track limits. Is the curb part of the track or not? Because it feels like sometimes I can cut the dirt with my inside tires and hit the curb with my outside tires and still keep the green lap. In that section though, it feels like it invalidates the lap the moment my inside tires touch the curb, or I'm whipping wider than a hippo and don't realize it. That's probably it, actually. Probably a me problem, right, Sheila? I have this problem with racing games. I can't seem to remember the tracks. I know every square inch of Verdansk and Warzone, but if you give me 100 laps at Imola, I'm still not gonna know exactly which turn's coming up next. I know my way around in real life just fine, no problem. But something about racing games seems to confuse my sense of direction. So around now is when I'm starting to realize that parts of the track are troublesome to my smooth, wrinkle-free brain. And because my brain lacks a lot of wrinkles, I start thinking, oh, here comes trouble for every corner. And Imola, at least for me, has some really technical spots where you need to brake and not too much, and that's still asking a whole lot out of me. This section right here is a little bit sketchy feeling. You come over this tiny hill and the whole car can feel a little loose for a moment, and then you got to try to nail the braking without the car doing its own thing. Then I go ahead and hold the gear a little too long and bang against the rev limiter before getting the hint. Struggle in this section. It's one of those ones where you have to brake and turn simultaneously, and I ain't that guy, buddy. Coming up is the exact situation with the curbs I was speaking about earlier. If you listen closely, you'll hear my left tires start to get onto the curb, but they never exit what I would call the track. But it invalidates my lap. I think that's the last time I get fooled by the track limits in that section. So I guess you could call that progress. So far, I'm a big fan of Imola. It's got a lot of really challenging spots for me, a lot of spots where it's really easy for me to upset the car. But I don't think Sabina will leave me like Sheila did. So over time, we're going to get more and more familiar, and it's going to be like, Sheila who? So I want to talk a little bit about why I like the Porsche so much. I mentioned before that I spent a little bit of time with the McLaren 720S, but couldn't match my lap times of the Porsche. And for me, the biggest difference between the two cars was like the turn in, like right when you're starting to enter a turn. Honestly, the McLaren felt a little bit better to me. It felt a little more composed, maybe a little more responsive. I found myself better able to predict what the McLaren was going to do, more so than the Porsche. But I still like the Porsche more. Why? I don't know. I honestly can't tell you. I mean, I like the way it looks, but something about the way it handles, I think, speaks a little bit better to me in a way that I can't really articulate. So Even though I felt more composed in the McLaren, a little more confident, I was slower by almost a full second, and I couldn't touch any of my personal bests with the McLaren. The moment that I switched back to the Porsche, I was able to set a new personal best at Monza. So even though I felt like I was going to lose my face in every turn, I was going faster, getting a little closer to the edge. My edge. It's probably the same reason that I enjoy the more challenging tracks. Anything that increases the skill gap kind of excites me, even though right now a higher skill gap means I get lapped more frequently. It also means tons and tons of room to improve in every sector of that challenging track. I'm still not sure if I should be dating these tracks all at once, or if I should settle down and marry one until I can find a reasonable pace. In general, I have no clue what I'm doing. My smooth brain thinks that might be a good idea though. Marry one and divorce it when I've mastered it as well as I can, and then find another one to marry. Yeah, you're replaceable too, Sheila. So I started this session with a 149.8. By the end, I think I shave off like 2.5 seconds to finish with a 147.3. And that's after only a short session on a track that I had never heard of and only did about 3 or 4 laps prior to this video. So there's lots and lots of room to gain just by me learning the circuit, let alone becoming a better partner for Zabina. I think for the next video, we're going to be at another brand new to me track. I'm going to try to do 2 opening laps and then practice the circuit off camera for an hour or so, and then do 2 more laps, and we'll see what the difference will be. So yeah, if you like the video, click the like button to like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you got something to say it below. I'll let the rest play out.